Jim, thank you. After months of debate, the city of Syracuse's Flock license plate reader cameras, they're all now gone. But News Channel 9's Victoria Kellogg says while one system is out, another is apparently taking its place.
While these cameras, all 13 of them, have only been gone for a few days, the effort to remove them started months ago. 5th District Councilor Jimmy Monto says that push has paid off.
We're happy that those 13 are gone. I would be happier if Flock had no cameras at all in the city or the county or anywhere around here. But for now, I'm happy that they're off city property.
And the change goes beyond this intersection. City Hall now says that all Flock cameras in the city of Syracuse are now gone, following months of debate over privacy and data sharing.
A simple Google search kind of tells you what the problems are with Flock or where we were seeing problems with their actions, especially around, new Americans and immigrants and the tracking of humans.
The city didn't walk away from cameras. It changed who will provide them, approving the switch to AXON, another license plate recognition system that Syracuse police says is important for investigating homicides and other crimes.
We are going to watch very carefully to make sure that people's rights, people that are just walking around the city of Syracuse, driving around the city, going to a grocery store, that they know what's happening when their face is scanned, when their license plate is scanned.
Monto says once the AXON cameras are deployed, the real test for him is just the beginning.
We want to make sure we're using the tools where we can use them, but use them correctly. There has to be guardrails.
Using technology without losing the public's trust.
If the road were easy, everyone would take it. We don't shy away from challenges. We dive in. And now, live from an undisclosed location in FEMA Region 10, it's your host, Joshua Michael.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Joshua Michael, Non-Compliant America. Thank you very much for joining me today. It is July 25th, 2026. Are we in 2026? I'm losing my mind sometimes trying to figure out and navigate all of this news. It's wild and crazy out there after detoxing from it for about a month. You get back in and you're like, okay, where are the waters? What's going on? Which direction is the world headed to? Are we having victories? Are we having losses? Well, there's some victories. There's some losses. The IP-28 for the state of Oregon is officially dead. And that's great. Let's all celebrate for that. I think that's, I don't know how it would have ever passed, but I guess if we weren't fighting it, it had to have died somewhere. It's just obnoxious, the fact. But the better question is like we devote all this time, and I had a metaphor that I was thinking about this morning when I was talking about it, is that it's almost like we're in a ship offshore. And there's just one ship, and we're just one ship, and that's all we have. And we're battling against these forces that basically have unlimited resources, and they just keep launching these attacks at us, and they slowly kind of etch away at our defense systems. So we win these victories, but we have no reinforcements. So it's only a matter of time until the ship gets sank or taken over or anything else, because the fundamental battle space, I don't believe, is these political victories. We win when we take over our household and reestablish order of a lifestyle, of a choice, away from these corporate systems, away from this distractionary propaganda campaign, the chemical castration that's happening on kids, getting away from the atrazine, getting away from the fluoride, getting away from, all of these things. It's an exhausting thing to do. But that is the real battle space that we should be in. Posting memes on the internet and engaging with things, it's not as effective as taking over your household and your communities in saying no to these things. And I wanted to play that flock clip because we've been talking a lot about the flock cameras. It's been a very hot topic. But being out of the media space for a while and coming back and starting to see this flock stuff, there's a little remnant. I don't know if anybody else picks up on this, but there is a sophisticated PR thing that happens on social media when you see a story and the story starts popping up and it gets into your algorithm and you're like, oh my gosh, like all of this stuff is happening. It's happening. There's a little remnant that where it doesn't quite feel organic. And so this whole flock thing, as important as it is, it absolutely is. I totally support it. I think we should tear all these things down. But it's almost being curated in presenting opposition. And you got pictures of these people cutting flock cameras down in the middle of the night. There's this guy that is facing jail time for quote unquote vandalizing one of these things. And he's like, I'll do it all day, every day. And his reasoning is very interesting. And it makes you think, it makes you wonder. I think it's completely justified. If somebody is illegally violating your Fourth Amendment and your right to privacy, tracking, controlling, grabbing your data without your permission, that brings a very big controversy. You should have the right to destroy that. You should have the right to take that down. They don't have the right to track and control you. This is the problem with the new technological system and the new cell phones and the cars that track you, the new shutoff switches they're putting into the vehicles, the digital biometric ID system, face scanning, right? It's all been a slow segue into this moment where they're going to start activating all of this stuff. It's been a slow, incremental thing of adoption for convenience to violate your liberties. Because we've gotten so far now when you're like, oh, well, that's just too far. That's just too far. Well, it should have been too far when they were putting cameras on your TV. And they were able to grid out your house with the Xbox Kinetic system. And, we like to take pictures and we like to have our cameras and everything else, but it's constantly tracking you. And so all these data centers, they're not being made to have sophisticated AI that we can use and, get faster responses when we're engaging with AI or faster programming, coding systems. Yeah, there's going to be some of that. But the reality is it's one of those things that it is going to build a deeper infrastructure for surveillance. We will have the most surveillance on our population more than ever. You won't be able to think of doing quote unquote something bad, where something bad could be once, say, they passed IP28, it would then be bad. You would then be a victim and then become a enemy of the state if you had a cattle farm, or maybe you had a couple chickens in your backyard that were unprovisioned or quote unquote licensed, or however they would roll that out if they were to get that to go through. You would then become an enemy of the state. So is that bad to be raising your own chickens? Well, in today's world, no. But in the future, it could be banned. And then you could be breaking the law. And then the entire security apparatus that you went along with, that you didn't stand up, that you didn't take actions to get and detox yourself from it and raise awareness and go to city council meetings and go to these meetings and contest against this overreach. Since you did not do that, you then are left alone and targeted by this very system. And it probably starts with social workers or community enforcement people. They'll start lingering around and be like, you got to remove those chickens. You got to get rid of this. And I know it didn't pass right now, right? So I'm just metaphorically talking about what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. That window is constantly moving and it's squeezing down tighter and tighter. And most of you just go along with it. I don't want to worry about that. You think about that too much, that burdens my life, everything else. And so that is the perpetual cycle that we constantly hammer down on you and talk about, because that is the real battle space, fighting against that stuff. Now you can get an unplugged phone. You can get, there's different mechanisms for communication. You got to sacrifice some of the new conveniences of the shiny new object of the iPhone or the Google phone or the smartphone. You have to disconnect from some of that. But what are we really gaining versus what are we giving up? That's the question. And so it's very important to realize, back to my point about the flock cameras and the propaganda, I feel like they want this opposition to happen. They're letting it go through. They're letting it happen. They're giving people small victories. Oh, why is that? If you caught the tail end of that news report, the AXON cameras are already being rolled out and nobody's talking about them. And if you remember last week, we were talking about the AXON cameras. They have taser drones that they're developing. Taser drones. So what it's going to be, the argument for the lobby group of the surveillance state is going to say, it's going to go something like this. Our flock cameras or our surveillance cameras are getting destroyed. The people are neglecting, or they're destroying and they're finding all of our cameras. So we aren't going to install cameras anymore. We need to initiate drone systems in which the people cannot reach. They have no ladders that they can get. They're not going to be able to destroy our drones, but we need the surveillance drones and these surveillance systems because we're protecting against murderers out there. And then the legislators will be like, yeah, knock, knock, wink, wink. Here's $50,000 to your campaign, sir. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's actually more like probably 15,000. These politicians are cheap hookers. They'll sell you down the river for $5,000. It's amazing what you could get for $5,000 from any of these politicians. But that's going to be the segue into where they're going to go. And how do I know this? Because they're talking about it. And this is, I'll tell you, I've talked to a police officer from Corvallis, the city of Corvallis, in details about this. And I was talking about the AXON system and the new drone program. And I haven't confirmed, because typically when you confirm, you got to get two sources and anything else. I was looking through their records. I couldn't find anything. If anybody knows where you can dig to see their futures contracts of what the police department is purchasing and buying, I know maybe there's a FOIA request that we have to do. But they are rolling out their drones next year through AXON. So AXON he's like, yeah, AXON's so cool. I have my body cam, and in my body cam, it just literally metadates everything, transcribes it all. So when I'm filing my reports, I can get all my highlights from AI. I don't even have to do anything because he's wearing an AXON body cam. And so it's going to evolve into the drone. So he said to me that they already have a system that they're going to be rolling out next year. And just imagine, maybe it'll start with the drones, which the city of Salem already has drones. I know somebody that was chased by a drone when he was a person of interest, and they tracked him down through a drone. So I'm sure there's just going to be an attachment that they'll be able to apply in the near future and just attach this taser system, and that drone will be hunting you down, apprehending you until physical police officers actually get there. Is that a good thing? Is that the future that we want? Well, we've seen this before in movies. We'll be right back.
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. In the time of censorship, non-compliance is key. From an undisclosed location in FEMA Region 10, it's your host, Joshua Michael.
All right, welcome back. So I want to play this interesting testimony that this guy gave in front of the city council. And he developed this thing called shepherd safety. And it's a really interesting approach. And this is something that you guys can do, at your city council meetings and different county meetings, because it brings up a big point. My thing is like, if we don't fight it, it's going to take over. If we do fight it, yeah, okay, cool. They're just going to move on to something else, in which they already are. The flock thing is kind of yesterday's news. Everything's going toward AXON. AXON already has contracts with all these police stations. They already have all the contracts. The cops are using them every day. It's a familiar brand recognition. And so it's an easier sell to these police departments on surveillance. And they're like, wow, we got NSA level surveillance as a small budget local municipality. This is great. This is great. We don't really have to do much anymore. But what's so interesting is, with all this surveillance that we have, all these license plate readers, everything else, like the Amber Alert thing is kind of useless at this point, right? And why aren't we able to find these hundreds of thousands of missing children with the surveillance state? Why aren't we able to find that? Because they're not going after them. This infrastructure is for you. It's not to actually protect you. It's to control you. If they wanted to protect and actually utilize a lot of this stuff to find kids and whatever their lobby and propaganda is telling you, notice how I said in that initial report in the beginning, we are going to use it. We're going to keep some of these cameras, types of cameras and surveillance up to investigate murders and homicides. Okay. We're not going to use it for other stuff. But they have to use those trigger words to justify their use of it. Because you think, oh, well, that sounds reasonable. That sounds very reasonable. I mean, the murder rates are up. Violence is up. How is it that as we get more protections, the violence keeps going up? It's getting crazier out there because they don't care about keeping the city safe. Some of the lower minions might be the true believers. Yeah, we're doing good out here. But they never actually talk about the real problem. The problem is the state is funding the homelessness to the homelessness industrial complex. They want this to happen. They don't want to clean up the city. There's huge money in that. There's huge money in dysfunction. There's huge money in it. I know somebody who had an issue up in Portland. They called the police. It took them 45 minutes to get there. 45 minutes. And now they're going to have AI emergency response systems to where you're going to call and talk to AI. You're not even going to be able to talk to a person. They're not going to be able to establish anything. I mean, do we really trust that system to be reliable? I don't know. You guys going to put up with it? Then, I mean, in some theory, we deserve it. But check this guy out. This is an amazing testimonial that was given in the city council meeting about the flock systems. Very, very interesting. Here we go.
Check out this city council comment.
Jacob Petrosky, 194 South Amador Trail. Good evening. I hope you guys have been having a great summer. I know I have. I've spent the last several months talking to people all over Casa Grande, and one thing keeps coming up: safety. So today I'm excited to announce a new company called Shepherd Safety. Our mission is simple: keep government officials and their families safe. We're launching satellites to watch over Casa Grande day and night. Our AI will monitor where government officials go, where they stop, who they meet with, and when they return home. We've already started collecting and building profiles on your vehicles, spouses' vehicles, children's vehicles, and other visual characteristics. We'll combine that information with publicly available data: Bluetooth signals, advertising IDs, vehicle information, commercial data sources, so our authorized users can replay the movements of every government official and their immediate family. There's no difference than the current flock safety capture systems. Everything will be stored securely, and only authorized users will have access. Local businesses will be invited to join our network so government officials can continue being protected while shopping, eating, or traveling throughout the city. Some of you might think this sounds invasive, and you may worry about abuse, you may worry about unauthorized access, tracking innocent people. We understand those concerns. After all, those are the exact same concerns of all the citizens.
Would this change your opinion on flock cameras?
All right, so it's it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it does bring a great question. You know, if we did this to the city officials, in which, here's the reality. The reality is that they're being tracked and traced too, but they're kind of being left alone. They're not being harassed. And they have measures that I believe to mitigate some of that. They might have some type of thing, but they're getting tracked and controlled and traced too. Because they have to walk on the city streets. They have to go to the restaurants. They have to drive their vehicles, but their vehicles are going to be registered to a different class, or it has some type of immunity or anonymous element to it. So they're not going to be as affected because they're selling it off. They're going along with it. So I think that the AXON is going to be the next move. But the reality is we have to set precedent within the court of law that we don't get to give up our rights for the safety of the community. The community should be able to manage itself, and we should have more controls within that. We'll be right back.
It's time to unmask the truth and expose the lies. The occupied forces do not want you to hear this broadcast. Breaking through the censorship and delivering raw, unedited content, it's Joshua Michael with Non-Compliant America.
All right, so a lot of you guys think that I'm crazy or I'm overreacting. The reality is that this is what's coming, and some of you guys might think, okay, cool, well, whatever, Josh, there's nothing we can do. There's absolutely something we can do. We can always address this and talk about it for as long as we can until censorship actually takes hold again. Now, granted, censorship is happening. It's happening everywhere, all the time. There's been a little bit of the restraints that have been pulled back again, but really the entire censorship aspect of COVID and everything was just a beta test anyway. It was a test for them to roll out their systems and their ability to do that. But rest assured, when the time is right, they're going to clamp everything down again. But this time, they're going to have the infrastructure for banking. They're going to have the surveillance systems to be able to monitor and quietly come over to your house in the middle of the night when nobody's around. They'll shut off your internet, shut off your ability to communicate and release any distress signals. And they'll kill your abilities within the courts because they've been so corrupted and overran, where people's rights are getting trampled on every single day. And all the good lawyers are virtually retiring or passing away. And so we have this abundance of lawyers that don't know anything about law. They're unwilling to challenge the system and unwilling to navigate it. But For all you guys that think that I'm crazy talking about this AXON system and it's already shifting away from it. That's why the flock thing, I think they let it go through. They're letting people do this. Not only are they easy to point out, but they're everywhere. They're pretty brazen, but they wanted to create a frenzy of some fake red meat that we were getting some victories when the real controllers in this real surveillance state is actually already moving on from flock cameras. So if you're just now hearing about flock cameras, they're already moving on to these AXON systems. Now, listen to this individual who works for AXON talk about the AXON systems and what they're already starting to put into cities. Take a listen.
I'm also excited to announce that we are working with another industry leader, Ubiquia, to turn streetlights into smart ALPR and live streaming cameras. Without having to add a single pole in the ground, this partnership accelerates deployments and turns existing infrastructure into intelligent, interconnected tools for public safety. Now, streetlights can do more than light the street. They can protect it. We call this AXON Light Post. And to share more about this partnership, please welcome the CEO of Ubiquia, Ian Aaron.
This is real, folks. This is real.
Thanks, Rick. So at Ubiquia, our mission is simple: to make the world smarter, safer, and more connected. We actually do that by leveraging the existing infrastructure that's already in the ground. That's 60 million streetlights in the US and actually 450 million worldwide. And we make them intelligent. We built a reputation with more than 900 cities and utilities for turning ordinary streetlights into extraordinary tools for public safety. Our UB Hub platform is easy to install, simple to relocate, and built to scale, allowing police departments to deploy and expand their video and LPR capabilities quickly. And today, we're excited to announce our collaboration with AXON Lightpost, creating together a powerful streetlight-based platform for video surveillance and LPR, all integrating seamlessly with AXON Fusus. We believe this will be a game changer, giving law enforcement more eyes and real-time intelligence where they need it and when they need it. Here's a brief video to show you how we do it.
To protect our communities, we need visibility. Live stream search detections. Law enforcement trusts AXON. Real time, they can track vehicles. Now it's easier than ever to scale video and the LPR technology. UB Hub installs in seconds, right around the light post. Pulls the power, connects to any camera, any existing streetlight in your community. No new poles required. No permitting delays. Visibility where you need it, when you need it. AXON Light Posts. Sounds like a commercial, huh? I've done a couple commercials in my day.
So now, with the help of my teammate, Todd, let's install AXON Lightpost in real time.
It's crazy. So this guy's walking up to a light post.
So Todd's plugging this into the photocell socket, which has been common for 60 years on 450 million streetlights. This is how you install, power, connect LPR or any network camera with edge processing, 10 to 40 hours of video storage, and all integrated with AXON Fusus. Great work, Todd.
Wow. So are you starting to see a pattern here? Are you starting to see a pattern? that this stuff is not going away. They're simply moving away from Flock. And maybe that's why they're letting Flock. For all I know, AXON is paying people to remove Flock cameras. So it's very, very, very concerning that this stuff is going on, and they are openly violating all of our rights and all of our privacy, and we're going along with it. So what is the next phase? What are we going to do, and how are we going to defend against this stuff? They already have contracts for next year for this in a city near you, if not your own city. And so what do? Let's start going to the city council meetings. Let's bring the AXON camera systems to the forefront. But you're not going to be chopping down light poles. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like they created all of this energy and they created all this momentum and awareness with Flock. And they've been targeting Flock, and the CEO has done some videos and talking about Flock and making it this huge deal, talking about how he's going to create safety for the entire planet, because when people know that they're being watched all the time, tracked all the time, they're going to stop committing crime. So crime's simply going to go away. These brazen statements of violating your rights, all while they're still missing children, all while nobody's been arrested from the Epstein client list. They're not even talking about it anymore. There are these global child trafficking networks that are going unscathed, still operating in the United States, because it's never about that. It's never about the goyim that you are. They don't care about you. You're meant to be in a slave class, and you're going to be accepting to it. And there's nothing that you can do. Or is there something that you can do? You can start by making some noise and talking about it. That is the key to everything. Educating people that will listen, getting into open debates and open discussions of this is why they're building the data centers, to harbor and basically get a full scale spectrum on every single person's life in America. That's why they're putting them up everywhere. They're putting data centers everywhere in all 50 states. So, I mean, are we? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm really frustrated with this. I mean, but at the end of the day, we can only do what we can do. But the goal is not to disconnect and give up. The goal is to fight on to the next thing. And it's not just for us. It's for our kids and our grandkids and the futures. What kind of future do we want where our kids are just in a complete surveillance state beyond than what we are? So listen to this small report about how tech billionaires are using NDAs to hide the data center deals. We'll listen to that on the next segment. But coming into this, want to thank you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow my show on X at NoncompliantAF. You can also search all the podcasts for Noncompliant America. And give me some more feedback. Shoot me an email. What do you think of what we should do with this new AXON systems? I mean, we're not even going to be able to where are we going to They're already doing the contracts. They're already rolling out. They're moving closer to that 2030, 2045. You'll own nothing, you'll be happy. Say it 100 million times. Because they're coming after your freedoms right now, more than ever. And they're just blanketly doing it right in front of our faces. So who's in charge of these contracts? Are they contracting with the police departments? Are they contracting with the cities? Who's funding these AXON camera systems? We'll be right back.
die young, and I can never let it go, cause they keep holding on. Told me I should be an angel, but the devil's one. But I ain't stopping for no one. I'm always on the
There's a dirty Venezuelan software package that lets you steal elections. It was in Smartmatic, where it was called SAES, Smartmatic Automated Election System. They bought an American company called Sequoia, and they put it inside Sequoia, where it was called WinEDS. That dirty package got shifted, and it's actually inside Dominion. They call their system Democracy Suite. They've been denying like hell that they have WinEDS. I'm going to prove to you that it is in their system. What's happened now is Liberty has come along. Actually, Liberty is just a new name on Dominion. It's the same corporation. So that dirty package is still inside. Trump released this last Thursday night. The CIA document summary of their own intelligence reporting 04 to 20. Document 2, they talk about how they have had persistent concerns that Venezuela was developing systems to cheat elections. Well, they did, in fact, develop that software, and it was the WinEDS that I just walked you through. They are acknowledging that, yes, Venezuela developed this, and they've been stealing or trying to steal their own elections with it. Let's go to an internal Dominion email, which I'm not supposed to show anyone. This is from 2011. A guy named Craig Short, contractor for Dominion, is talking to Sherry Hadsky. You're going to see in a moment. She's the Secretary of State of Louisiana. This is all about the WinEDS upgrade. Now, remember, you're going to see Dominions come out and say, we don't have WinEDS. No, we never did. That's all some junk from the past. But meanwhile, their internal emails, they're talking about upgrading their system. She says, hey, confidentially, if Democracy Suites, if this runs on Windows 7 and this WinEDS runs on Windows 2003, don't we need two servers? So she knew, and Dominion knew, that they were in fact still using WinEDS. And the guy confirms, yes, that we're going to need two servers. This is an email from Eric Coomer in 2020. He's running the elections in Chicago. He's writing a guy, Goran Obradovic, who's in Serbia. They're talking about setting up servers to process ballots as they come in. So there's a few days before the election. He says 30 minutes, 12,000 ballots. We may have some timing problems. We can set up the cartridges to load overnight as they come in scare quotes, and then
I mean, like, oh, come in, yeah.
As they come in, meaning we're going to be uploading them, but pretending that these are ballots coming in from the field. We can then load them into the WinEDS. So here's Eric Coomer, the CTO of Dominion, acknowledging that WinEDS is being used in their system. He swore up, down, and sideways since then, as is Dominion, and he's saying our good Dominion machines don't have any of that WinEDS package in them. Here's a guy, Edmundo Rojas. You look on his LinkedIn. He's at Dominion Voting Systems, but he's also under contract as a senior product specialist to Liberty Vote.
Yeah, so they're rebranded. Don't worry, Republicans own it now. Everything's fine.
But here's another Dominion voting guy, again, writing to Coomer, establishing VPN connection into the virtual machines today to reach the county's electronic voting machines. And on the next page, our tablet arrives in Shanghai Customs. We're waiting for clearance. So the tablets you're voting on are actually going through Shanghai Customs, where China gets to edit them. This is all under what's Liberty Vote. Chinese-made equipment with Venezuelans who are all in our system, the Venezuelans here in the U.S. who are now working for Liberty Vote. You trace these Venezuelans back to the same university through Smartmatic and Sequoia, and now they're in different places running our elections in the United States.
The multinational corporate intelligence conglomerates.
Chinese, Iranian, Venezuelan, they're all in on it. It's one constellation of bad actors.
And it's the Democrats and the CIA, as you pointed out, contract people that hate us to do it, so they have plausible deniability. Oh, as they come in.
You get what's going on.
So we preload the results before they come in.
What they really do is when they set up a Dominion server for some county, they set up next to it a second machine. That is the WinEDS machine. They run the election on this machine. All this stuff gets in. And what they're not telling anyone is it goes from the Dominion machine to this EDS dirty machine and then gets reported into the election reporting system. So before the results go from the county to the legitimate election reporting system, they're run through this WinEDS dirty Venezuelan software. They and only they even know it exists.
So we're doing a bunch of reports on the election going on and going forward because we need to have the election redone to where same-day voting no mail-in vote ballots accepted, and in-person voting. So the Trump administration is really going after this, and this also could correlate with the fact that we went to Venezuela. Could be the fact that what's going on in Iran. Maybe we're targeting these data locations that are tied to the election systems. Wouldn't that be great? But for something that we could do, because I'm always talking about what we can do as citizens, what we can do as individuals within our local communities and our local areas. Well, as you know, Dr. Douglas Frank has been here many, many times. I'll probably get him on the show this next week so we can talk about the good work that he's doing all over the country. He loves coming out to Oregon because Oregon has the most corrupt election system in the country. And so if we can fix that, then that is a great thing. And I know that, a lot of counties around are working with Dr. Frank right now on being able to create that. But if you want to go to hear him speak and hear what he has to say in regards to his approach for fixing the election systems, he's going after more of like the county processing and notifying and noting the actual fraud that's happening every day in every county, virtually in every neighborhood in this state through the mail-in voting system and how broken it is. He's not talking about the machines. He's talking about the actual voter rolls that are being manipulated and changed. But if you want to go see him speak, he's going to be at 9 different counties in Eastern Oregon, Central Oregon, starting this Monday, July 27th. And if you're in these areas, I'll post it on my X. I encourage you guys just to go out there and listen and hear what he has to say, because he is so over the target on so many things, and he shows you the actual voter rolls for your neighborhood. So who's controlling the elections? I don't know. You got to go see with Dr. Douglas Frank. Eastern Central Oregon speaking tour. He's going to be in Malheur County, Baker County, Union, Umatilla, Walla, Jefferson, Crook, and Deschutes, and Klamath County. And you can engage with him starting this Monday if you want to check him out. Please spread the word. This is very important. Imagine if we can restore our elections in Oregon, how quickly things are going to change. The NGOs and the unions and the Democrats, they don't really have control over the people. The people don't want this. The people don't want IP28. They don't want Measure 114. They don't want to have these ridiculous term limits that are being put on our congressional leaders and the good ones that don't show up after 10 days. They don't want that. And I think if we can restore our election system with the help of Dr. Frank and stuff that he's doing, we can have a fighting chance to restore this state away from these crooked, communist, socialists that are capturing over everything. So if you want to do that starting Monday, July 27th, which is coming up, Dr. Frank is touring, and he's going to have a lot of information for you guys. And the time is now that we have to do it. You can call or text Teresa 971-645-6564 or go to secureourelectionsnow.org and catch us out. It's very, very exciting. I'm going to try to go out there and live stream some of his stuff because it's powerful and it's very enlightening in the fact that it's really not complicated for us to fix this stuff. And he's done it successfully in other counties, and he's trying to do it in Oregon. Thanks for listening. I'm Joshua Michael, Noncompliant America. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on X at noncompliantaf or write me jm@noncompliantamerica.com. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.